This is Jordan Moorhead with the Austin Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today we have Mason Marozas on, and he's going to tell us all about what he's doing in Austin to make great investments and how he's helping other people make great investments too. Hey Mason, how are you?
I'm great, Jordan. I can't complain. How are you doing?
Doing great. I love the background you got there. Real quick, could you tell our guests who you are and how you're involved with real estate investing here in Austin?
Sure. So Mason Marozas, I've lived in Austin for about 4 years now, and I'm pretty green still in the real estate world. But I've officially 13 months of being in real estate, so just over 1 year of kind of really diving in. But I'll tell you, man, you can learn a lot in 1 year about all these things when you kind of really dive in and get your hands dirty. And I by day, so it's not my full-time job just yet, even though hopefully one day it kind of will be in the passive side and all that good stuff. But 9 to 5, the normal job is finance side, and really just helping people kind of set aside money on the traditional side, and also with real estate investing if that's a passion of theirs, and really kind of just diving in with both of them at the same time. How they kind of work together in a sense of traditional markets and savings and setting money aside to more on the passive side to more the active side of the real estate. And I've been doing that now for fully licensed for 4 years. Got my finance degree from the University of Kansas and kind of moved straight down here right after college. And Austin is quite the place to be with all the opportunities and the people that we've met. And my fiance and I are loving it down here.
Awesome, man. Yeah, great to have you on here, Mason. So how did you end up in Austin?
So I ended up here. I was about 19 years old when I got quite the opportunity at the University of Kansas. I met my mentor now that was kind of up there speaking in one of the classes, and I really he's a financial advisor, top 1% in the world, actually out of Bastrop, Texas, and I just picked his brain like crazy. He's got quite the true rags to riches story of grew up with nothing, no parents, and now he's got a good number of professional athletes under his belt. So when he was telling us that in this college class, I really, was like, man, I want to learn. I want to do this. I'm passionate about saving money, even from 12 years old when I got my first job. I'm umpiring softball. $35 a game is what they were paying, and I'd take that straight to the my kid's savings account, and I just love watching that number grow. And I even as funny as it sounds, then I became obsessed with watching the couple pennies of interest that would go in there, and it's like, man, why are they paying this, or how does this all work? And regardless, fast forward to 19, met Michael, and or met my mentor there, and he gave me quite the opportunity. I think saw my passion for it all, and just said, man, come on down to Bastrop, 45 minutes east of Austin, 30 minutes east of Austin, and live with me and my 4 kids for 4 months, and I'll teach you everything I know. So I did that, and it was quite the grind for that time, but now I'm just trying to translate it best I can to everyone.
That's really cool, man. So it's great to have mentors, and I know that's been a huge part of my life too. So you moved to Bastrop and you started working with his name's Michael?
Yes, Michael Hosper is my mentor's name. Yep.
Awesome. So you moved to Bastrop, you started working with him. How did you get drawn to real estate investing? So I know you've just been in that a little over a year now, but it sounds like that's kind of where your passion lies.
Yep. So advising, took that job with the $0 salary, and kind of learning that actually it was negative dollars. You're paying for all the licenses and whatnot, and got to go out and make sales. But with him and watching my mentor 24/7, he did a lot of like condos and real estate investing, and kind of during the boom, I just watched him with all his real estate investments that he maybe spent 10% of the time on. And he would just be very transparent and tell me how much he made there. So it kind of sparked and he makes really good money, trust me, on the advising side, so it kind of just, 90% there, 10% time spent on the real estate side. It sparked my interest big time of, well, how can I do this? And fast forward, it's just started saving money even more, keeping it liquid for myself, because I knew at some point in time I wanted to get into the real estate game somehow. And And honestly, as funny as this sounds too, the internet and TikTok and all that stuff, the wealth of information that's there, I started, the algorithm does a good job of what you're interested in, of course. And all these things started popping up, and I kind of realized that all these people would show like how much they would make transparently on the short-term rental side. And I said, that mixed with the numbers of how fun real estate is, I love the number side, and then also the creativity side of it. It felt like a perfect fit for me. And I ran it by my, now fiance about 18 months ago, and she's got a very, very good creative mind. I said, do you think we could do this together? And then we just went head first in it. Probably starting to learn about it June of last year, and closed on that first deal in November of 2021.
That's awesome. And I really like how you mentioned, the social media platforms and how their algorithms kind of pump that stuff to you. So I would say that there's been such an uptick in interest in real estate investing with people in the younger generations because we're on these social media platforms, and you're on YouTube and that's all you see is social media, or sorry, real estate investing, or you're on, like you said, TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but I kind of know how their algorithm works. And all you're seeing is real estate investing. I'm even on Twitter and all I'm seeing is real estate investing. So you start to get that interest, and then it just builds from there. And that's a really cool observation there. And it's not just that you have this rich uncle, you have this mentor that's making all this money, and maybe you started looking into real estate investing, and then it's just suddenly all around you. That's all you see all the time. So really cool observation.
Yeah, that's correct. It's almost somewhat, sometimes it's too much, at the end of the night when I'm like trying to shut my brain off and just
Mhm.
watch, something that'll make me laugh rather than learn about things 24/7. I kind of miss, I wish my algorithm sometimes just showed me stupid, funny videos, but it's
Yeah.
a, it's a good happy medium.
Yeah. No, you start to think that there's nobody out there that's not just thinking about real estate all the time. And then you go talk to your old friends from college or high school, and they're like, "Oh, what's this real estate thing you've been doing?" And clearly it's something that never occurs to them.
Yep.
But you're thinking, "Hey, all I talk to is other people in real estate, or all I see is real estate content on social media, or I'm just going to meetups and I'm meeting all these people that are in real estate." And you forget that whatever 95%, 99% of the population's never going to think about investing in real estate.
Right. Yep. And it blew my mind. Just going to these meetups and then getting on, the algorithm when it starts to do that. It is so much fun being around like-minded people with it. Like well, one of my old high school buddies called me last night, and we talked for an hour and a half, about it. And I won't shut up. Sometimes it's fun to just keep on going, and
Mhm.
and when other people do show that interest, it's just a wealth of knowledge that's fun to share, especially when it's rolling and working really well. And not to say that there's not hard parts about it, or difficult times, or failures, even many failures that you got to come across. It's definitely not all green. And then what I'd say comparing it to the advising side is, you could stick your money into an index fund in 35, 40 years, and that's fantastic, but that's very, very easy, right? Maybe get average 10% year over year in the S&P. With real estate, the goal is for that to be higher, but you're definitely putting in a lot more time, money, effort, kind of more on the active side, more so than just sticking in a fund. So there's trade-offs, and it just really comes down to each individual person, which again, like you said, is fun to really pick their brain and learn about just how much they're willing and want to learn and execute on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And being an advisor that's also involved in real estate, I know you can help people, figure out what is your asset allocation going to look like. Is it going to be all real estate, or is it going to be a certain chunk in stocks and bonds and a certain chunk in real estate, or maybe you're a high net worth individual and you put some of that in passive investments in real estate, and you don't touch the active stuff, but you got some in stocks, some in private companies, and some in bonds. So there's just so many options there that it can be exhausting, but that's why having an advisor can be super helpful. So
Exactly, yeah. And the risk tolerance side too, correct.
so important. So you talked about talking about real estate with people and mistakes you've made. Something we like to talk about on this podcast is the biggest mistakes people have made. So in real estate, like you said, there's so many things you have to overcome. What's the biggest mistake you would say you've made in real estate investing?
Golly, I think Jordan, like starting out furnishing this Airbnb that we kind of got up and running, it, it's definitely a mistake that I won't make again, but it was kind of like happen circumstances. We went all in with the limited amount of capital we had at that time a year ago. And when you go cheap on certain things or certain things that break and last, you end up you're going to spend more money getting it fixed or getting it redone and just buying the correct thing later. So there are definitely many instances, like I'm looking at my fridge here right now, like that had to be replaced because we bought a $350 fridge on Amazon that didn't work after 2 months. You know, I'm trying to think of some other ones, but many examples like that, just going cheap and not doing it, super correctly. On kind of the furnishing side of things. And one thing I'll say that I'll kind of flip it. One thing that I think that we do really well compared to some of the failures that we do see kind of other people make or they'll ask advice on, which is kind of one and the same. But a good example that you hear all the time, I've heard you say it, is people will spend all this money furnishing a property or all down payment, everything, but yet they'll take the photos with their iPhone or
Man, yeah.
and it's like those are $150, $250 tops, and it makes the world of a difference of what people look at, and on top of that too, I think something that we've done well is people are paying a good amount of money to vacation or stay in your place, and that you really are you're in the business of hospitality and providing an experience for them. So if you keep the consumer in mind first and go a little bit above and beyond and just think, if I were staying here, would I want this fixed or would I want this handled? Or if it's a birthday party, would I bring, a couple cookies or whatever, just to go a little bit above and beyond? It makes a world of a difference that sometimes I wish, or I think where a lot of people could improve is running their, real estate like a true business with the consumer in mind first. I know it sounds cheesy and all those things, but it makes a world of a difference of putting that person first.
Oh yeah, and I think what you talked about there of putting in, trying to save money on stuff that's just not the highest quality. When you're in a review-based business like a short-term rental, it makes all the difference for somebody to walk into your short-term rental and they say, "Wow, this furniture is really nice," or like you said, that refrigerator is really nice. They really went above and beyond, and you might spend a few $100 more, or furnishing even a 3-bedroom short-term rental or a 2-bedroom short-term rental can be 10 or 15 grand pretty easily. Mm-hmm. And it feels like, oh, that's a lot of money. I could spend 8 grand and get it done. But the biggest issues I've heard of and seen with short-term rentals is that people go cheap on the furnishings and cheap on, the functionality of their short-term rental, and they end up hating themselves in the end for it, because what could have been a great result, people end up being upset and they don't like the sheets, they don't like the pillows, or the beds are not that great, or whatever else. Just spend the extra money, make them really nice, and you're going to make a lot more money off it because people are going to review you well after they leave. And that's so important.
That's exactly right. I had to think of one other example, that outdoor furniture, a little more kind of crazy expensive how it is, but it's outside, you want that to last. And we went really cheap on these like picnic table chairs or whatnot. And I remember one of the guests, like it broke, and it just simply, like it shattered, all the wood came to the ground. And I think we spent 4 to 6 hours, putting them together, because even that amount of time with how cheap it was another good mistake. I just occurred when I looked out back and saw that chair, or the new chairs that we have now that are much, much better.
Yeah, no, it definitely don't cheap out when you're trying to put short-term rental together. Mason, getting into more questions about, this isn't really a question about mistakes, but if you had to start over today, so if you 13 months ago, 2 years ago, whatever it is, if you were looking to start over today, what would you do differently with what you know now?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. The furnishing, going cheap, that's a trying to jump through holes or going whatnot. And then on top of that too, not doing things like, legitimate with the city, getting the license first thing, because, a lot of people go with the strategy of, I'll do this until I get caught and then say sorry later. Just do it all correct from the get-go so you don't have that headache later and you're just free and clear. It's not fun to pay for city licenses or go through that process of all the, red tape with, legislation and whatnot, but just do it, learn about that. And honestly, this wasn't really a mistake, but I wish I would have just done this sooner, learned about it sooner. Saw, like during the boom and just consumed all this information as much as often as possible. And I'm 25 now, so I'm definitely glad it hit me, when it did. But when people have the opportunity or they want to learn, diving in and making those mistakes rather than trying to learn the perfect way beforehand is one of those things I wish I would have done when I was 12, making those $35 a game umpiring softball.
Yeah. Oh, I get that. I think you got started at a great time, but yeah, absolutely everybody I talked to, myself included, would say, "Hey, what are you glad you waited until this happened?" And everybody waits until a certain point to start, some quicker than others. But I think I look back and say, "Hey, I was learning about this in my early 20s. I waited until my mid to late 20s to start, 27, about my first property." But I was thinking about it and learned about it when I was 23, 24. Why did I not start then? Because real
Sure.
estate time is absolutely your friend in real estate. And just being in the market makes such a difference with real estate and any other investment too.
That's correct. Yep. Yep. It's a long-term play and big on both sides of kind of what I do is just you're in it for the long haul and the earlier you can get in, the better.
Absolutely. So Mason, correct me if I'm wrong. You've got a short-term rental in the Austin area, and you've got a short-term rental you just closed on in Dripping Springs.
Closing on that one tomorrow. Yep. The Dripping Springs
Wow.
one tomorrow. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. Very excited. I always say like opportunity mixed with persistence and all these things equals luck.
Mhm.
This short-term rental that, the first one that we bought, a lot of sweat equity and forced appreciation, but it definitely appraised a lot higher than, when we were trying to look at pulling some cash out to do it again, because we just, got hooked like a lot of people do from the start. Got lucky there and yeah, pulled that cash out and looked for, a couple months as the buyer's market here in Austin and kind of across the nation gets we've got a little bit more power on the buyer side, in my opinion, now with,
Definitely.
a little bit more time on inventory, I noticed, and just wanted to make the right call on this one. And the Dripping Springs run kind of checked all of our boxes and swinging for the fences on that one. Very excited to do the process of furnishing it again with good, expensive furniture, not durable furniture, nothing cheap. We'll do it correctly. And it is a fun process for sure. It'll be starting tomorrow. It'll be pedal to the metal again.
Oh, right. So you close tomorrow. So this weekend, you're going to be in there figuring out what you got to get fixed, figuring out what furniture you need, and getting that moving.
That's right. The Amazon delivery man will be at the house a good amount of the time.
Nice. So that's super exciting. Closing on another property is always so much fun. Awesome. So it sounds like you're doing awesome. You're 25. You already have 2 properties in Austin, which is a huge feat. Most people, don't buy a house until their early 30s or late 20s. You already have 2. That's awesome. What's next for you, Mason? What are your long-term goals and what's your vision for real estate? Because it sounds like you're having a great time helping people in finance and you're also crushing it in real estate. So where are you going next?
That's right. Yeah, and I appreciate that. I definitely want to, help more people in whatever realm that is. If that's just the traditional side, the real estate side. So the more I learn kind of about how all of this works, the more I can help, share this information with others. And the more people you help, that's how you kind of achieve those goals yourself and whatnot. And I think just keeping the train rolling. I'm from Kansas City. And going home for Thanksgiving, Christmas has been a little interesting. I love our families to death, but it's been a little interesting being engaged and not staying at my parents' house, my childhood room, and my fiance stays in her childhood room. So I think the next step, we might look at, trying to find a home in Kansas City for a midterm type rental, which if people don't know, that's anywhere from 30 days to 90 days. So kind of in the space between short and long. There's a lot of hospitals up there. The cost of living, the cost of homes is a lot lower. So can kind of do it a little bit quicker. And selfishly, one of the benefits of this real estate and having homes and places is you have somewhere to stay when someone's not there, right? So that's kind of the whole point of, you know, selfishly, we'll go there and stay November, Christmas time, or whenever needed, and hopefully still kind of keep rolling that cash flow. But yeah, man, I just love helping people. I love talking real estate, talking money. It's an uncomfortable topic for many, but for me, it's like, you know, it's a big need. There's a lot of there's a lot of misinformation out there, and a lot of people that finances can be a different language. Real estate, lending, all that stuff can be a different language. So helping simplify that for others and helping them kind of repeat that process to achieve whatever goals they may have, whether that's, you know, purchasing their first property that might feel impossible, and teaching them how to house hack, or teaching them FHA 3.5% down on a duplex and maybe cash flowing on the other side, or a triplex, fourplex, you know, all that. It's just such a fun game, and it's so much fun to kind of serve others. That's really what I want to do, what I want to continue to do.
That's awesome. And it's really cool that you talk about that stuff as a financial advisor, because I know that, you know, everything, there doesn't have to be just one avenue. You don't have to just be in real estate, or you don't have to just have an IRA, or you don't have to just invest in bonds or passively in real estate. You can do it all, and there's a place for it all. So I love that. My investing strategy is kind of all over the place. You know, I do invest in an IRA for tax benefits, because, you know, I'm not going to get what I get treated in that account the same other places. But then I do invest in real estate too. And I do invest a little bit passively in other people's projects. And I think it all has a place. And you talked about risk tolerance earlier. I think that's so important when you're looking at a portfolio. What's your risk tolerance? How much work do you want to do? Because some real estate investing, like you're talking about, putting together Airbnbs, that's a lot more work than passively investing in a syndication. So there's an
Yeah.
option for everybody, no matter where they're at in their life. And it's really cool that you're able to help them figure that out.
Yep, I love how you kind of put that, because there's so many things out there, so many bonds, crypto, syndications, short-term rental, long-term, and it's just like, what is your appetite, and can we fit to kind of help, you know, be your, or can I like help be your middleman to help you achieve whatever it is you want to achieve? If that's, you know, setting money aside, or you're increasing your 401k contributions so that you can be comfortable when you're 60, that if that's your goal, and that's beautiful, that's perfect. You know, if you want cash flow now, are you willing to put in, you know, a few more hours each week, or, you know, really have a different side hustle to kind of create some of these things now, or leading up to whatever age, then there's a fit for that. So that's right. There's so many different avenues, and it's fun kind of navigating all of them, and every single person's, you know, money experience is completely different. So just really figuring out what best fits them and best helps them achieve their goals. There's no one all, you know, solution for everything. So it's just finding that good happy medium with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really cool. You get to help people with that every day too. So, you know, when it comes to that, do you have any sort of business or mindset books that you like to recommend to people to help them kind of figure out where they want to be with their investing strategy?
Sure. My favorite mindset book, I'm sure it's probably been said before, it's the second most sold book, I believe, after the Bible. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one of, I think I picked that one up when I was 15 or 16, and I've read it almost every single year since, because it's just timeless. That's a great one. You know, I know these are, you hear them all the time, but it's because they're so good. But Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki is an incredible one, just on, you know, getting your money to work for you rather than, you know, working for money all the time, and getting the quadrants and all that set up. Those are two just fantastic books that if you're trying to get in this game, or improve your mindset, improve your life, that you really can't go wrong with either one of those.
Yeah. No, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, I know so many wealthy people that read that every year, you know, just to kind of go over those principles. And I think, you know, that's a good lesson. Just because you read a book once doesn't mean that you can't get more out of it by reading it a second time or a third time. You never know. You might have missed something those first two times that changes your life. And that's just such the mindset that you're talking about, the mindset of just continually improving and continually learning. is so important if you're going to grow. So many people go to college and they say, hey, I went to college, I read all these books that I don't ever want to read again, so I'm done. I don't need to read anymore. I don't need to learn anymore. I'm good. Don't worry about it. I've got my degree and I don't need anything else. But those people just, they cease to grow, and then they cease to get bigger lives too. But what you're talking about is just continually learning is how you
That's right.
always grow and get better.
There's a lot of life after college, and kind of like you said, I've tried to read it every single year. I'm sure that I have actually, and the different stages of life you go through too. Sometimes something will pop out in a book that you might not have needed last year or a couple years ago, or it hits you right at the right time, even though you've seen those words before. You don't retain all of it. So just filling your mind with some of those amazing, positive kind of things to help improve your life and improve the lives of others is something I will continuously strive to do with some of those really good books.
Yeah, so important. So Mason, if people are looking to reach out and learn more about you, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Sure. Yeah, I just started. One of these things I'm trying to improve on is social media. So it's not that great just yet at getting in front of a camera and talking, to the internet of people that, even though that was a big way that I learned, but trying to step out of my comfort zone big time there. And also on the same time, I'm also trying to separate kind of personal life and work life a little bit more, as like I told you earlier, it can kind of be all consuming, like the algorithm at night. But I did just, that was a long answer for saying I did just start an Instagram account that's really solely money, business, real estate focused. And that's just money_with_Mason. So kind of a brand new account, but any new followers that would like to kind of learn more and see some money real estate tips, that's where I'll be posting it from now on. I'll stick with it for sure.
Awesome. So it's just, we'll make sure that gets in the show notes too, so everybody can see it and click on it. But yeah, that's pretty easy. All right, Mason, most important question we ask here on the podcast: what is your favorite restaurant in Austin?
Chipotle. No,
Oh,
I'm just,
really?
I
Oh,
do love Chipotle. I'm a frequent Chipotle goer. I
we
actually
had a
work there.
guest on the podcast, Michael Jones. His podcast is probably 20 or so podcasts ago. I think he was early hundreds. His favorite restaurant is Chipotle. And
Yeah, it's so good. That real food, I could literally eat it every single day. So
yeah,
I do love Chipotle, but I'll give you a real Austin answer because there are in so many good restaurants
yeah.
here. Favorite barbecue is Valentina's for sure. I don't get out there often, but every guest that comes in, I bring them there. And I love 1618 for kind of the Asian food. I think Elon Musk, not a like him, hate him. He said that it was his favorite restaurant now, and then Matt's is a fantastic Mexican restaurant.
Yeah,
So
Matt's
kind of
El
I like,
Rancho.
yes, Matt's El Rancho. I like all the different, diverse kind of cuisines.
Yeah. Barbecue, tacos, and Mexican food, and I'm good to go.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah. All right. Once again, just so everybody, it's wealth_with Mason for your
I'm sorry,
Instagram handle.
Money with Mason.
Money with Mason. Sorry.
Yes.
Money_with_Mason on Instagram. And of course, I'm always Jordan_Moorhead on Instagram. Definitely we'll have all that in the show notes, but reach out to Mason on Instagram if you have any questions about, his financial advising business or just real estate here in Austin. He'd love to help.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jordan, and I would love to help. Just serve, and we'll grow together. It's the best way to do it.
All right. Thank you, Mason. So excited to see what you're able to do here in the next couple of years. And we'll have to have you back on here in a couple of years to see where you're at.
Love to do it. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, Mason. Take it easy.
Take care.